This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Seen it. I'll put the bit about this video contains spoilers. There was a leak on Toman. However, there was a thing that they actually put out yesterday, a statement that they'd acquired Audio Media Research, which are actually the creators of the plugin Revolver. If you haven't heard of Revolver, basically it's an amp modeling kind of plugin, which has some of your normal kind of amp choices in there, you know, Marshalls, Bassmans, dual rectifiers, Voxes, diesel stuff. The interesting things to me about it, I think they've actually done some collaborations with PV on a bunch of stuff as well. Revolver has audio cloning technology, so we're talking about like capture-y stuff, you know, like the Kemper, like the Quad Cortex, like Tonex now, or even like the Neural Amp Modeler, the free version of this. So that's kind of now going to be involved with Headrush, as well as plugin hosting, third-party plugin hosting. I think this is a real first. So it says on their site, do you have go-to plugins that you can't live without? With Revolver's plugin host module, you can expand Revolver with VST and AU plugins of your own. Add your favorite effects and Stompbox plugins, or even use third-party amp sync modules with Revolver's advanced cabinet modeling. When it comes to expandability, the sky's the limit with Revolver. Now, potentially, this could be an important first, I think, for the modeling community. So for ages, I think there's been a growing bunch of people that really like using plugins, but don't necessarily have a piece of hardware that can run them live reliably. And that's why it's been important for, you know, people like Line 6 to have a piece of hardware that can also be replicated in VST plugin. The exact other companies haven't necessarily tackled this. Obviously Tonex most recently has done that sort of thing, I really think it'd be really interesting to see a brand or a company tackle this third party element so that you could potentially, you know, on your Headrush pedal board, run some sort of interesting plugin, you know, whether it was Valhalla Supermassive. That's something that I'd love to run in some of my modelers, or whatever the VST plugin might be. I think that's a really crucial and interesting development. So they've bought In Music, other brand, they've bought Revolver essentially, and now there is this capability within the business of cloning or capturing or profiling, as well as VST loading of third-party VSTs within plugin form. Maybe they'll be able to broach that within hardware too. Now, the other interesting thing that came out was, presumably in a month or so, you're going to hear about the Headrush Prime. Well, you're probably hearing about it right now, but it's going to be the new amp modeler from Headrush, who, I don't know, I don't necessarily see them as one of the biggest players, but it looks like this could have some important developments that I hope some other people might take on. 7-inch touchscreen, another really important thing here. They've got the amp cloner here, it's been included. Direct Wi-Fi connection to the Headrush cloud, so sounds reminiscent of something like the Quad Cortex. Preset sharing and firmware updates. Wi-Fi streaming practice tool for music. Bluetooth audio connectivity. And this is a really important one. Powerful custom design multi-core DSP system with gapless preset switching. That's something that really only exists within the Boss series. I think the GT1000, GT1000 Core do some version of gapless preset switching, or of course the Kemper, but interesting to see if that, you know, is actually what it says it is. Gapless preset switching, I think, is a fairly big deal for quite a lot of people. That seems to be most of what's interesting about it, but here's another really key one. Antares Auto Tune is included on this. Now, I've seen people in the Quad Cortex groups and in the Helix groups talking about, could we have auto tune? If we've got this ability to plug in a microphone, you know, if you're using vocals through the units, you know, you can use compressors, reverbs, delays, just like anything else. The really key thing that was missing for most people would be that auto tune thing. So, and it's Antares Auto Tune, meaning I think that they've already broached this issue of being able to load third-party plugins within a piece of hardware. So that's pretty exciting if that is what they've actually done. That's about as much as there is information about it. It looks pretty cool. It looks like they're going the opposite route of Neural DSP. I thought that probably since the Quad Cortex, we probably see people shrinking units down a bit. I don't know if the dimensions are on here, but it does look fairly chunky. But yeah, let me know in the comments, are you excited about that? Does it sound interesting to you? Those are the key things that interest me: the gapless preset switching and the ability to load something third party, even if it is just auto tune for now. I think that will really excite some looping people, because the Headrush loopers are amazing, but also the ability to plug in a microphone and use auto tune that is coming from elsewhere. I think I'd like to see more companies doing this sort of thing, you know, if using the expertise of some other kind of companies, you know, if there are already existing great pitch algorithms out there, why not try and integrate those? That sort of idea. If there are other companies like Strymon, for instance, if we could get some sort of collaboration going on there between companies, you know, licensing plug-in form stuff that could work within an existing piece of modeling gear, I think that would be quite an interesting idea. I don't know, maybe it's wishful thinking, but also the Headrush now is going to be able to do the profiling capturing thing. Interesting to see how that actually works, but it looks like that is now going to be sort of a thing that most consumers are going to expect from a unit. I think now that the Kemper can do it, now that the Quad Cortex can do it, now a Headrush piece of gear can do it. I think Moore have some version of it. Maybe that's something that the customers are just simply going to expect from now on. Let me know your thoughts.